So people are out here. We got HPD. We don't know who this male is. Nobody knows who this man is.
Marisia Burton was reportedly missing a few days back, but she suddenly turned up to the police station to ask them to stop reporting her as missing. Her family and friends thought this was odd and intervened on the whole thing. Little did they know that they actually stopped Marisia from being trafficked. This story is a bit different to what we're used to, so watch what happens when a missing person suddenly shows up. This 19-year-old girl was only beginning her life when a kidnapping scare almost ended it. It's every parent's worst nightmare to have their kid missing while studying, and that's exactly what happened to Marisia Burton. The happy-go-lucky teenager had plans that did not go right, and she ended up somewhere she wasn't supposed to be. Marisia traveled to Florida to pursue her dreams like any other kid out there. It was the perfect plan. She went and applied to the Disney College program where she would study and work while being in Disney theme park and resort. She would get to interact with tons of people around the world while staying with classmates on campus. She's been there since January last year and nothing bad happened, not until the holidays came around the corner. Shouldn't Disney be the most magical place on the planet? Then why did something so scary happen there? This is ironic because reports suggest that she was last seen at Disney's employee housing in Flamingo Crossings East in Winter Garden, Florida. The Walt Disney World Resort cast member from Orlando has been reported missing since December 22, 2022. Nothing has been heard from Marisia throughout the holidays. Her friends kept posting on social media with hopes that some stranger will recognize her, while her family and her church kept praying for her return. No one else saw her, but one of her co-workers allegedly claimed that the teen told her sister she would rather quit the internship program than get terminated for missing a day of work. Although the information has not been verified, Marisia Burton's fellow Disney College program interns took to social media to share that missing a day of work at the Disney College program without a valid excuse may result in an employee's termination. That sounds sketchy, but at this point, we still don't know why Marisia suddenly acted weird and became missing in action, but we were definite that she was missing. She deleted all her social media, and every call they made went straight to voicemail too. All of a sudden, she showed up. By January, she went up to a police station in Houston, Texas. That's miles away from where she was supposedly staying at, and get this, she walked to the police station at her own will and told the cops to stop reporting her as missing because she clearly wasn't. Some say that she was acting kind of weird that time she was claiming this, and her family wasn't even there in their hometown. They actually flew to Florida to look for her. Here's where the story gets crazy. Marisia wasn't alone when she asked the cops to do that. She was with a strange man who no one had seen before. No one can vouch if he was a boyfriend, a friend, or a random stranger that helped Marisia off the road because, again, she hasn't been speaking to her family since the holidays, which is very unlike her. This was exactly done right after New Year's Day, so it's very questionable. Were they waiting for the holidays to be over to not make a scene? Cops said that one of the two people, Marisia or the random guy, was acting hypervigilant. They seemed so alert and so on call with the people passing by them. It was like they were watching out for something or someone. Or maybe even it was because they didn't want to get caught, which is again a red flag on her list, since her family wasn't at home that time. It was her friends and the people from her church who stopped Marisia and the man from leaving again. Apparently, they surrounded his car with Marisia in the passenger seat. They made sure he had nowhere to go, so it ended up with him going on the phone with someone and Marisia holding up a jacket with the Mexican flag to cover her face, which people say was a source that can make us believe she was off to Mexico. Was she really almost trafficked to Mexico? Because if that were the case, this was some life-changing event. And it got caught all on camera. Her family heard about the whole ordeal and immediately thought it was trafficking. Without a doubt, the Burton family have shared possible concerns about human trafficking after the showdown at the Houston police station with an unknown man and asked officials to take her name off the missing persons list. Marisia's aunt went online to share that her niece was seen at the police station with a weird man, who allegedly asked her to get here ASAP. The aunt also claimed that she believed her niece was being trafficked to Mexico. She is being trafficked. Everybody who can get to 2202 St. Emmanuel, Houston, Texas to stop this man from taking her. If he leaves with her, she'll be in Mexico, she said while in Florida. It's great that her church was there to help her when her family couldn't. The pastor was the one connected to the people who said Marisia was there at the station. She also let them pray over her as a ritual since they had a feeling that she was under some illegal substances.
Yeah, but I know he's drunk. So what I need the prayer is, like God called Lazarus, like Jesus said, Lazarus, come forward. We need y'all to be praying.
Pray, everybody.
To come forth for her mind, and she has the mind of Christ. We need y'all to keep praying that, because whatever demon has got her control, she thinks that she wants to go back, but she don't know.
At first, it looked like the strange man got arrested as some authorities were explaining to the Burton family what's been happening while they were gone.
There she is right there, folks. All right, so the young lady has stepped out of the vehicle.
But then the cops posted that there's nothing they can do, since there was no foul play between Marisia and the man, and it seemed like he was willing to go with him. He ended up driving away because the cops said they have to uphold everyone's rights, even the man, in case this isn't a human trafficking case.
The person that was released, we're trying to make sure that he's being detained, okay, until we conclude the investigation. Right now, we have human trafficking experts involved. We have an advocate talking to her, and we're trying to get a better understanding of her side of the story.
You best believe everyone was mad because they had Marisia drop off after no communication for days. And they just let the man who was allegedly with her go away for free. No one knows who this man is to this day. After everything, Marisia was feeling shame, guilt, and embarrassment because a lot of people were there to help her. She wouldn't feel these things if it wasn't deliberate right. And she never planned on running away and going to the police station to not be reported missing. Anyway, we don't know what exactly happened, and all of these are just speculative. Her family and friends have been posting about her safe return just recently. Some of them are saying that Houston was the #1 play for human trafficking, so it can really happen.
#1 for human trafficking. And it's so funny that the mama thought the baby was in Florida, but she been returned back here to Houston. So something has happened. What happened? We don't really know.
A lot of people are mad that this was allowed to happen in one of the most established places on Earth, or claims to be. One person said, FYI, Disney is one of the most established trafficking predators under the radar. Look at how all the famous kids starting in those clubs are all lost and turned away from God. Disney also had a cruise that stopped at Lolita Island where kids were being held for trafficking and held against their will. This young lady is very lucky, praying for her and her family. Another added, she went to college in Orlando at Disney, kept communication with her family and friends on the regular. Then out of the blue, no communication, no social media, and shows up in Texas on the way to Mexico saying she is not missing. And Drug Depot knows. Why not call your family and say you're not missing? This is so fishy. If he would have left the precinct with her, they would have been in Mexico that night and it would have been over. I'm glad she's home. We're really glad Marisia is back home, but we want to know what happened to her between those days, because if it was trafficking, then we can stop that strange man from doing the same thing to other women. And this isn't the first time we've heard a story like this. There are some cases that are also the same, wherein the missing person would just show up and pretend that nothing happened when they've been found. It's the worst type of cases because we wouldn't get to find out what really happened. Well, that's all for now. Remember that some of this information is all based on theories and opinions that shouldn't be considered facts. Thank you so much for watching.